So I say positioning without consciousness is one of the main causes of oppression, right? So if like in my experience, I was a military spouse, right? And during the war, and so most of my marriage, he was somewhere else doing the thing called combat, and I was in the home growing the family.
Hmm.
We decided to grow that family together, right? But the situation positioned him away from the family and positioned me in the center of the family, right? And unconsciously, I took over that
Space.
entire place, right? From a good place.
Yeah,
Like I
absolutely, absolutely.
yeah, combat, first of all, don't know if you're coming back, right? That's the reality. Don't know if you're
That's the
coming back.
reality.
So trying to build this heart set world of a family, human beings that can grow and thrive, and I took that over because I can.
Hmm.
And so then when that positioning changes, right? So person comes back, and now I'm still centered in the position because that was what happened. How do I make space for that person so they don't feel like they're misplaced? And
Hmm.
how do I consciously do that with the person so that I'm not in my own zone of thinking I'm doing all the right things and unconsciously mis displacing them? And that's why I say positioning without consciousness is a dangerous thing.
Mm,
And whether it's in your business, so as
mm.
a human being, woman, male, whatever, you walk into a business and you position yourself and you didn't consider or be conscious about the entire environment or the entire culture of that
Mm.
place, yeah, you're gonna cause a lot of harm. So how do you position consciously where you're not causing harm, more harm, because we already know so many people have already been through so much, and you're
Correct.
being helpful and you're moving towards progress in a way that we all can move together and no one feels left behind and no one feels displaced. How do we do that?
Mm. So, after going through your own situation, what would be kind of your recommendation on how to start, like you said, the proper communication and the creation of this space that can deal with these circumstances? Because
Yeah, I mean,
that's about, because culture. The big thing about culture is that there's disciplines, there's behaviors, there's values. There are components that make this invisible thing a thing, a major thing. And so, as you talk about this scenario, I'm sure there's these principles and these things that I'm sure you'd recommend to say, hey, I wish I would have done this or known this my first time.
yep. Well, for me, the first thing is always I can still be my full self and still see everyone else's full self. It doesn't have to be one or the other.
Correct.
And I think a lot of times in very difficult emotional situations, we choose one. We either choose to be all of ourselves completely, no matter what you're bringing, or we choose to see you completely and then I diminish myself, right? And there
Mm,
has to be a balance between the two where we both can be seen. In an
mm,
intimate relationship, I think the first step is you have to find a partner that can have those deep conversations with you and go there and be like,
mm.
yo, I feel like you are taking up too much space. And the other person has to be able to receive that and work through the plan. How many people are willing to do that? I don't know. For me personally, as a single woman, man, I don't meet a lot of dudes that's willing to go there, right? Like I want
Right.
to go there because I want to be your safe landing place. I want you to feel whole. I want to see you completely, right? Because I've been through this. But that takes like conscious awareness of self. And a lot of people
Hmm.
haven't done that personal work yet to do that, but communicating that is key between an intimate relationship and in a professional environment. If you're the leader, it is on you to see everybody, to make space for everybody.
Right.
It is
Right.
on you,
Right. As
and
a
you have
real leader, as a real
as a real
a
leader
real leader makes space for
for
people to
everybody.
become the best version. Right. Not just them being the best version, and these are just components that help into that. But
That's right.
and this comes back to a point that you just said. I feel like there are a number of people who don't make this space because of their insecurity of feeling like they might lose something, right? So
Hmm.
you talked about on the personal side of making space so that both can be the best versions of themselves, but there has to be a level of trust there to understand the why and if that's really happening and what's the reason behind this happening, right?
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing on the professional side, like you're alluding to.
I love the word trust because, I can't do anything without trust with you or anybody. And we
Mm-hmm.
really diminish the importance of trust in all relationships. So we have to build that. But trust only comes when you trust yourself. And a lot of times, most insecure people that are taking up too much space and ego leads them, yeah, they don't trust themselves. So
Mm.
we can't expect them to trust us. And again,
Wow.
we've lived in a nation that has been that way. We've lived in a nation that hasn't trusted themselves. We've had absolute brawls in our nation because nobody trusts nobody and they don't trust
Mm.
themselves. And
And
so
and
we
then
have
there's the
to,
control piece.
oh, yeah, I'm going to control you because I don't trust myself and you can't figure that out before I let you.
Boom.
So I'm going to
Boom.
control this whole narrative, which is
Mm.
such a waste of energy. Because it might, if you let me know your vulnerabilities, man, I might be able to help you, and vice versa.
But and that's part of the major unlock that I think we need so badly, to be
Hmm.
open to that opportunity to truly trust, empower, support. But it's safe to say, though, there's been so many things to cause people to not be comfortable and trust getting to that place of trust. The amount
Right.
of agendas, and all these different things, Libra, that we've seen that are woven into our
Hmm.
cultures.
Yep.
It's difficult, but just because it's difficult doesn't mean it's what, not possible.
Yeah,
It's so
that's right.
possible, and it's
Long
going to
term.
take work, and
Yeah.
it takes work for all of us to kind of rally around with that understanding, or a small group to be the example of what can
Hmm.
be there.
Yeah.
And you are
Nothing
a
happens
light.
all together. Yeah,
Say it
nothing
again.
happens all at once. Nothing
No,
happens all
no.
at once. And we have to be
And,
okay with that. And we have to
yeah.
be okay with the fact that it might not all be solved in our existence, but the key is, what are you contributing to the solution
Boom,
over time?
boom, boom.
And when you say it
Agreed.
may not, nothing's impossible, I love when people say that because it's always the same thing for me. The word impossible, when you separate it, is I am possible because
Highly possible.
I truly believe when things are impossible and hard, it's really not my problem, it's yours. When you
Mm,
say that to me, what work have you not done to overcome the fact that this is absolutely possible?
absolutely possible.
What has happened to you in your world where you've lost all hope? I
Mm.
can't bring you to everything. Some of this is going to be your work. Like, you got to pull the onion back. Like, what did you lose?
I just had this conversation with a friend some time ago, and everything we talked about regarding their challenges, the first response that came out was, "Yeah, but it's hard. Yeah, but it's hard. Or, yeah, but it's hard. Everything." And so I stopped them. I said, "Okay, so you know where the work really needs to happen, right? It's not all these things need to change. It's your
Hmm.
mindset. You have your default button on it's hard, which for you then turns into it's not possible. But
Hmm.
hard does not mean impossible. Hard actually means that it's super possible. It's just going to
Yeah.
take work. And anything worth anything is hard. If
Yeah.
it's easy, you shouldn't want it."
Who are we to say what's hard when our ancestors have done way
Whoa,
more with way
go
less?
go there, go there.
Hard
And
is
you're
not.
leaning forward. And you lean forward. You're leaning forward into do it again.
I
Go
just
ahead.
when people tell me things are hard because I really lean into hard things, and it wasn't always me, right? Like, I've been through a process in my life where I've really come out of hard things, um, personally elevated. And so, because of that, I no longer try to skip over it, go around it. I always want to go through it because I know that one, going through it is a gift. I get to go through it. It is not a challenge. It's not like an
No,
obstacle. No, I
agree.
get to go through it because I'm still here. I still exist. And I get all the gifts that come with the lessons and the improvement and the growth that I'm going to get from going through the hard. The second thing I constantly think about every single day when I open my eyes, man, there are ancestors who had babies on their backs and
Mm,
picked cotton, whipped you close to death, and had to wake up the next day and continue to work hard. And they saw a vision. And I said this to you before. They saw a vision of Astor Chambers. They saw a vision of Libra Forde. They didn't know our names, but they knew we were going
that's
to
right.
exist.
That's
And
right.
they did it through hard every single day. Hard was not a word for them. They were like, forget hard. I want to see the Libra Ford. I want to see
Hmm.
the Astor Chamber. And if I don't get to see it in my lifetime, somebody's going to see it because I do the hard today. And that's why
Mm.
I do hard every single
So,
day.
so you do it every single day. Share what's your process of doing hard every single day in your own experience, right? What's your how do you deal and progress through the hard?
And everybody has to come up with their own routine.
Agree,
My
agree.
routine,
But your example is
yeah,
going to be helpful, right? To share, because some people might
absolutely.
have the same, right?
Yeah. So my heart begins with me opening my eyes. I do not look or think about anything negative before I think about something positive.
Mm,
First thing in the
okay.
morning. Soon as I open my eyes, I want to smile. And sometimes that's a thought about my father, who I've lost a couple years ago. It's a thought about my superpowers, something. Maybe something
Hmm.
yesterday that was funny, but it has to be something that makes me smile because it gives me energy. Smiling,
Mm,
if you Google it, smiling does incredible things to your brain neurological system, right? And so I want to do that when I first open my eyes. And then the second thing I do is I say something that I'm grateful for. Normally it's just, man, I'm glad I
okay.
woke up today. I'm
And you say it
here.
out loud, not just in your
I
head.
say
That
it
this
out
you say
loud.
out loud.
I say it out loud. Yeah, granted, I'm single, so I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I can say whatever I want, right? Nobody there to interrupt. So I say it. Hey, I'm happy I woke up this morning. My eyes are open, and then
That's
I
right.
usually do something physical, right? Like I want to feel every piece of my body, so I do something physical. And I'm recovering from a hip replacement, so physical is really important to me. I'm healing, and so I do something that
Hmm.
every piece of my body I feel it opening and waking up. And then once I put my feet on the floor for the first time, man, I say a prayer and I just say thank you for allowing
Mm,
me to be grounded again to do this work. And then I start looking at my calendar and be like, okay, what we got today? What we doing? What we doing?
I love
And
that.
I mentally start to think through how I'm gonna get that done. Of course, I work out after that, so then like the mental and the physical start to make a connection with the working out. That's working out is my spiritual connection.
Yep.
It's like
Yep.
my daily church. And so that's important to me. And then once I start my day, I'm locked in.
Yeah.
But when my day ends, I'm locked into those things that fulfill my heart, my
Mm,
kids, my family. I'm like the other stuff, that scheduled stuff, the transactional stuff, then takes a clear back seat. And I'm
mhm.
locked into my family. I cook dinner for them and I'm grateful for that. We sit down. They always got something quirky going on. I got teenagers in the house, so always something. But
Yeah.
I'm always grateful for that moment too, right? Because I get to be there. And then I
You
end
know,
my day by laying down and watching something funny. I love to watch funny stuff because I like to end my day with a smile.